So happy International Women's Day. All the women who are here in blockchain, really exciting. And happy Africa Blockchain Day. As I was introduced, my name is Tricia Martinez. I'm the founder and CEO of Dalla and the director of the Dalla Foundation. Dalla is a mobile financial platform for emerging market consumers. We operate between banks and consumers, and Dalla is a crypto token that enables instant zero-fee borderless micropayments. So $20,000 Bitcoin, $50,000 Bitcoin, $100,000 Bitcoin. What does that mean for us? What does that mean for all of us in the room? For most of us, I hope most of us, it means our wallets are getting bigger. For some of us, it means we're kicking ourselves for selling too early. But a question I want to pose is, what does it mean for the rest of the world? What does it mean for the consumers who can't access Bitcoin, who can't afford the fees to transact with Bitcoin, who can't even get an exchange in their country, and if they have an exchange, it comes with a massive premium? Today, I want to talk about the crazy complex space of emerging market finances, why it's broken, why I love it, the potential for it, and why I really believe that cryptocurrency is going to start a financial revolution in emerging markets. So 3.5 billion. This is the number of consumers that operate outside of the formal financial system. And the reason for this is twofold. One, access. Think of geographical issues, getting transportation to go to a bank branch, identification issues. A lot of consumers don't have an ID, intimidation of the financial system. Walking into a really fancy bank can be really intimidating. Even having a credit history. You can't go to a bank if you have no data on yourself. The second piece is cost. Not many of you know, if you're not from this part of the world, but financial services here are very expensive for lower income and middle income consumers. I have to pay a fee to deposit money into the bank. I have to pay a fee to withdraw my money. I have to pay a fee to check my balance. I have to pay a fee to go into a bank and ask a question. This entire system disincentivizes consumers from operating in the financial system. But it's a massive opportunity. So a McKinsey report stated that if banks were to design strategies and target underserved consumers and the small business credit gap, there would be $380 billion on the table. That's a massive number, and a massive number of consumers who need help. So why are we not doing this, and why are emerging market finances broken? I want to lay out all the reasons why these systems don't work and go into the details of how we actually can design solutions around it. So for one, emerging market banks are inaccessible. Just like a traditional savings and loan model, it doesn't work in emerging markets. So you don't have a large number of consumers coming in to deposit money, therefore these banks can't provide these loans, and because they can't do this, they start charging fees to consumer, which creates this cyclical problem. Consumers aren't going in, they don't have the right paperwork or IDs, the banks are very risk averse, there's just not enough money in this space. It's not very efficient. The banks are not designing more efficiently for these consumers, so we have a big problem, specifically around the cost and access issues. But their failure has led to another player in the market, mobile network operators. They are telecommunications companies, for those of you who don't know. Vodafone, Vodacom, Airtel, MTN. These corporations have designed systems so that consumers can buy airtime data for their phone. They can pay bills. They can even have mobile wallets where consumers started transacting with airtime as a currency. Now, MNOs have solved this access problem. You go into any market around South Africa, there's an agent on every corner of the street. I can go cash in and cash out, put money in my mobile wallet. It's as easy as that. The issue with MNOs is they're really, really expensive. Consumers have to pay high fees just to deposit money, withdraw money, check their balance, and the experience is pretty shitty to say the least. This is why cash is king. This is why cash is our biggest competitor. Consumers can see it, they can touch it, they can feel it. Doesn't matter if they don't see the indirect costs to it. It's something that's been in their lives, and they don't have to go rely on these big corporations who time and time again charge them fees or charge them fees for asking questions about those fees. It's a flawed system. Like I said, no one is incentivized to participate in it. This is why consumers will continue to use the most economical solution for them, which is cash. Now, everyone asks me, and this question irritates me a lot because nobody really understands it, why not Bitcoin? Why can't people in Africa just use Bitcoin? So there's a number of reasons. One, it's way too expensive to transact with Bitcoin. The fees are higher than the fees that the banks and MNOs push on consumers. Two, the processing time. Imagine you are in Uganda riding on a boda, and you need to pay this guy quickly so he can hop and grab this other rider. Do you think he's going to wait 10 minutes for you so Bitcoin can process and go into his wallet? Definitely not. And to make matters worse, there are no wallets. There are no user-friendly wallets for consumers. It's really a complex system, and no one has designed for the consumer. And lastly, exchanges. They don't really exist in these markets, and when they do exist, they are really, really expensive. Let's look at a use case. Zimbabwe. Sorry for that, I don't know what happened. In Zimbabwe, consumers have dealt with their hand of bad luck, we'll say, with hyperinflation. In the markets today, you can't even get hard cash. Consumers are asking family members from surrounding countries to ship in cash because the banks are out of cash. There's nothing in these markets. Consumers, through desperation, have looked towards other exchanges to access Bitcoin. 85% premium is the highest it's been. How is it fair for a consumer to spend 85% of what we're paying in the US? It's not. It doesn't work. It's not efficient. So who are these consumers? This is Kuda Kwashe. Just to give you a sense, Kuda Kwashe was one of my Uber drivers. He lives in Cape Town. He's from Harare, Zimbabwe. And we started chatting. And I asked him, how does he send money back home? So he told me 3 ways. Number one, he goes to Mukuru or a MoneyGram, where he's spending 10% fee on that transaction. It's a lot of money for an Uber driver. The second alternative is a bus driver. He'll go in town, find the bus driver, hand him a bag of cash, pray to God that that bus driver then makes it across the border. His mother can then go find that bus driver, hoping that the cash is still there. She has to pay him 7%. The other option is a 5% fee. There's informal agents on the ground. I'll give this guy cash. He then calls up his friend in Zimbabwe. He has cash as well, so then his mom can go find this agent and hope that these people are legit and aren't going to go run away with their money. These are the only solutions they have. It's crazy. 10% fee in a system that they trust, quote unquote trust, is mind-boggling. It's crazy. Now let's dig deeper and look at the actual behaviors. So we see how they're moving money cross-border. What about what they're doing when they have money? This is by far the craziest stat I've ever seen in my life. In 2016, over $269 billion were processed in mobile money transactions. 2/3 of those transactions were under 80 cents in value. That means consumers are sending micro payments. They're buying small amounts of airtime. They're buying small amounts of data. They're sending small amounts of money to their friends and family. But they're paying fees on 80 cents. How does that make sense? So where do we go from here? We know the banks aren't effective. We know the MNOs are charging consumers a lot of money. We know Bitcoin isn't the answer. How do we solve this problem? Through crypto. Crypto designed specifically for the emerging market consumer. We need zero fee, we need instant, we need borderless, we need to support micro payments. Now, the hardest question is, how do we bring crypto to emerging markets? It's all fun and games when people are doing ICOs, but how are you actually going to get this cryptocurrency in the hand of users? If Bitcoin couldn't do it, how could other organizations do this? It's about ecosystem development. So we know emerging markets are completely different than any of these other markets in the US and Europe, but banking systems have similarly copied these US and European markets. We can't do that with cryptocurrency, and we can't let consumers be left behind again in this financial revolution. There are 6 steps that are required in order to build out these ecosystems. The first is to design an incentives-driven utility token. Consumers want to be incentivized. The banks are charging fees, they don't have access. How do we incentivize consumers? You have to change their behavior. Start incentivizing them and they will start coming. Secondly, you need to launch a user-friendly crypto wallet. All the wallets that exist are terrible. I can ask anyone in this room if they actually transact on a wallet with Bitcoin and go buy groceries with it. You don't. It just doesn't happen. We need something that's designed for these consumers and with them that actually appeals to their day-to-day lives. Third, we need to enable zero-fee and instantaneous transactions. These big corporations, the MoneyGrams, the Western Unions, the banks, nobody can compete with zero fee, and nobody is willing to compete with it. Once you provide zero fee, the consumers will come because you're changing their lives. The fourth piece is to support a fiat to crypto exchange. Like I said, there's only a handful of exchanges throughout the continent of Africa. You need to enable consumers to move cash in and cash out in multiple currencies throughout Africa and into that one crypto. We need to enable merchant crypto transactions. So it's great that I have cryptocurrency, but what does it do for me if I can't actually buy anything with it? Get the merchants on the ground. Enable consumers to start buying their everyday goods, airtime, data, food. Bring on these next sixth point is enterprise ecosystem. You need the large-scale wholesalers, the corporations, people who are willing to buy into this because they see that the local currencies are too volatile, the exchange risk is impacting their businesses too much. This is how you're going to start building out this ecosystem. And this is what we've done. So Dalla is designed to enable zero-fee, instant, and borderless micropayments. We've been operating in the space for years and have seen that these are the biggest barriers for consumers, and this is the only way we're going to drive change. I'm happy to say we launched the Dalla wallet this week in South Africa. We have users who are transacting with Dalla at merchants in the app. They're buying airtime, they're buying data. Next month we're going live in Zimbabwe and in Uganda to enable cross-border, zero-fee, instant remittances. We have 30,000 merchants on the ground who are accepting Dalla. You can buy Coke with Dalla if you want. You can buy other items as well. And we're also building out enterprise partnerships because we see that it doesn't involve just one foundation, it involves a plethora of organizations. We all want to be in this to win and support consumers and to start changing the way that consumers can access and change their lives. This is about financial inclusion, it's about financial freedom, and getting consumers on the right path. So I'm an American. I moved to South Africa about 1.5 years ago. Our team is based in Cape Town. There's 14 of us. We issued a cryptocurrency last year. It was the most stressful and agonizing experience of my life. I don't recommend anyone to do it. But we're focused on building and driving value for consumers, and we're happy to explore partnerships. We want to be the organizations that help drive change in the crypto space in Africa. I really do believe that cryptocurrency is what is going to drive the financial revolution in Africa. And given the problems that exist here, massive change is needed, and it's going to happen. Compared to the U.S., people are so focused on markets in the developed world, but in reality, when those problems don't exist, you're not going to see the viral growth and the rapid change like we will here. And in the next year, we will be seeing more and more cryptocurrencies in the market for consumers solving problems in agriculture, education, energy, and more and more. So that's kind of in closing. Emerging markets are the future. If there's one thing that I hope you leave away with, it's that start investing in emerging markets. This is our future, fastest growing middle classes in the world. There are serious problems here that need to be solved, and not one organization or a few people can do it. We need so many more people in the space. If you want to build a cryptocurrency for Africa, please do it, because we will work with you. Even if we're technically competing, we need more people like that in the space. So if you want to reach out to me, you can visit our website, dalla.org. You can reach me at tricia@getwalla.com, tricia@dalla.org. Our Telegram is t.me/getwalla. Twitter handle is @getwalla. Thank you. Hi.
Thank you for the presentation. I've got two questions. Question number one, are you going to make money?
Yep.
And question number two, it's just a word of caution that in South Africa, we tried to implement M-Pesa type system and it failed because the banking system in South Africa works pretty well. So just a word of caution as to where you put your energy.
We've been working in South Africa for years. M-Pesa is actually, I would say, a failure because they charge fees and they actually aren't designed for the consumer. So MNOs are doing it wrong. I think crypto is the solution, and when you design for the consumer, zero fees, and you reward them, you're going to see behavior change. In terms of how we make money, so Walla and Dalla are separate entities. Walla is an American corporation. We're a financial platform. We work in partnership with banks to digitize their offerings. So if a user joins Walla, they have not only a Dalla wallet with crypto, but they can sign up for a fiat account with our bank partner. So loans, savings accounts, certain markets in Uganda and Zimbabwe, we have bank partners. South Africa, we don't have a bank partner for that reason that you mentioned. South Africa is a tough market to break. But the way we make money is through revenue sharing partnerships. So banks pay us interest on assets under management, interest on loans that we provide through our platform. So Walla is the revenue generating for-profit corporation. Dalla is a foundation. We're focused on building an ecosystem and expanding it, not about generating profit. Yep.
Hello, Tricia.
Hello.
My name is Trevor Zungu. Sorry, excuse the voice. I was so I actually, this, for some reason, your system has actually caught my attention because Dalla in South Africa, I think a lot of people know it's slang for bill. Dalla what you must. It means bill. So I think your idea was forward thinking in terms of the name. But what I want to know is, you said that you already have a few people on your network, or shall I say your ecosystem in the country. How many numbers do you have? That's the first question. The second question is, would you be interested in working with somebody that probably has a footprint in the public sector? Why I'm saying that is because the previous beautiful lady, hello, she actually said that in South Africa the systems are a bit stringent in terms of getting into banks. But I do a lot of work in the rural areas as well, where people don't have access to banks. I'm sure you guys would know. If you were to go to the rural Eastern Cape, the rural Northern Cape, there's places where people actually, it's a luxury for them to get to an ATM. Yep. So Dalla, for me, is something that would make sense in terms of collaborating more on the public sector and reaching the masses. Yep. So how many users do you guys have? And up until today, I did not know about Dalla. I only knew Dalla what you must. Enlighten us as to how many people you have, and also how we can assist you as well in reaching out to the bigger audience within the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm happy because literally this week we went into alpha. So we just finished building out the Dalla wallet. Alpha is a closed release. We only want 50 users on the platform so we can work out all the bugs. Beta starts April 2nd. That's when we go live in all of South Africa, all of Zimbabwe, and all of Uganda. So 50 users, and what users can do now is they can get rewarded in Dalla. So with behavioral economics background, we wanted to figure out how we can influence financial behavior change. We reward consumers for paying bills, for topping up, for inviting friends, for expanding the ecosystem. And with Dalla, they can buy airtime, they can buy data, they can send to a friend, they can pay bills. And to expand the ecosystem, we have, right now, like I said, 30,000 merchants on the ground. In the next few months, it'll be 100,000. So our focus is building out spaza shops, the small merchants, creating jobs for them and making sure that we can expand the Dalla ecosystem that way. Cool, yes, let's talk.
Okay, so Dalla is the it's not necessarily a coin. Is it a coin or is it a token? And I guess Dalla is the banking aspect of it.
Yep, yeah, so Dalla is an ERC20 token, right? We're on the Ethereum blockchain. And Dalla is the mobile financial platform, so almost like a digital banking solution.
How many tokens have we issued for?
We've issued you like these questions. We've issued 1 billion tokens.
So Dalla's going to have 1 billion tokens total?
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank
Tricia.
you.
That was very interesting.